Checking the connection. Hello, everybody. Emerald's Raymond 360 Live on a Sunday. Hello. I'm looking forward to today to answer questions. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello. Yes. Hello, Leo. On this Sunday, Everybody Loves Raymond 360 Live. Going to be answering some questions, showing, of course, the inside of a script. Hello, Gil. Now that you've joined, let me plug in my mic. Make sure it's at a good level. How do I sound, everybody? Yes. Hello, Teresa in Chicago. I assume nice and warm in Chicago. Hello, Bobby in Hawaii. Hello, everybody. Yes, let's see. What is this script? I Wish I Were Gus. Again, backwards for you guys. But I Wish I Were Gus early on in the series. It is August 21st, 1996, going way, 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 way back. So, yes, hello, Karen, a different backdrop for everybody. Teresa, it is not warm in Chicago. Leo, warm in Toronto, I hope. Nice and toasty warm. I think we are only going to make it to the mid-70s here. So, but what are you going to do? Hello, Huddersfield. What's it like in Huddersfield? Great, I hope. Hello, everybody. Yes, greetings. So yes, cold in Toronto. Okay, Leo. That's, I guess, not surprising for those of you on the East Coast. I hope you survived. Those of you in Massachusetts, it must have been tough. Uncle Mel is hysterical with Ray's dad. Yes, Uncle Mel, played by Phil Leeds. Hello, Australia. I hope I pronounce it correctly. Brisbane. Is that how you pronounce it? Because in America, we would like to say Brisbane. And Brisbane must sound terrible in your ear. Hello from sunny and warm central Minnesota. Yes, so happy birthday to Phil and Monica. Their birthdays are just 2 days apart. And when we have a birthday for somebody on stage, we wheel out a cake and everybody would sing happy birthday. So if you were watching, if you looked at that picture, that was for the finale episode. And you can see the whole, for those of you that obviously know the show extremely well, we wheeled out a cake. Everybody sang happy birthday. It was kind of bittersweet because that was as far as I remember, the last birthday to be sung on stage 5. Hello, Scotland. Hello, Norway. Your daughter's birthday is the 26th of January, in between Phil and Monica's. Perfect, Karen. So maybe if she comes out to LA, we can do a joint celebration of all 3 of them. I hope all of you enjoyed the Amy Aquino visit. That was phenomenal. She is great, and I hope to have her on many more times. I think what Amy brings to the table is such a comprehensive experience of acting, and it was very, very interesting to be not making it, so to speak, and going to Minnesota, for those who didn't watch, and then finally getting to Yale, and then her life turned around. Leo, talk about the staging of when 2 rooms are used during an episode. How do actors transition back and forth? I'm not trying to be funny, Leo, but they walk. Is that what you mean for the 2? Give me an example. Write to me an example of what you mean by 2 rooms. Because I will say this just before you even write. When you shoot a scene in Ray and Deborah's bedroom, you shoot the scene and then you go cut. And then you move the cameras to whatever the other location is. So there's no continuous type of scenes. Like if you watch West Wing or something like that, where they're walking and talking with one camera and then they roll. That doesn't exist in a 4-camera sitcom world. You always have the 4 cameras set up. You shoot that scene twice at least, and then you move on and you say, move it on, and then the cameras move to that next place. Is that what you're talking about? Very much enjoyed Amy Aquino's visits. Yes. Hope to have her back. Yes, I would like to have her back as soon as possible. She works for British Airways. Okay, great. See there, waving. Hello. Tom, we have ELR back-to-back on Channel 4 UK. Mike and Molly obviously didn't have the pull. Wait, you have ELR came back, Robert? Is that what you're saying? Because it disappeared for a while? For those of you, the United Kingdom, is that what I'm hearing? That Mike and Molly didn't quite cut it, and so they came back. You were watching ELR on IFC this weekend, and the sex game episode, they said, I'm going to Everest instead of going to war. Why? Okay. That's a good question. Did we say, does it say in the, how would you know that? That's the curious thing. Princess Christine 67. So she is talking about the sex game episode. And what happened was, when we were filming that, a war in real life broke out, and I can't remember what it was, what the war was at the time, but CBS said, you know what? You just can't say it. Now, it doesn't make any sense from a historical perspective, because there's been war since the beginning of time. There were always wars. It's just an expression. And so, but CBS was worried that somehow it would be in bad taste. So we change it to, I'm going to Mount Everest, which isn't as funny. Everest is not as funny as I'm going off to war, especially when a sitcom couple is playing a game about having sex. I don't think people are going to worry about, war. I think you have to take it seriously, that war, people, it's tragedy and all that stuff. So if you're in that headspace, then you probably shouldn't be watching comedy at all. ELR is on in the mornings here in the UK. You've started recording it again and watch it whenever you want. Smart. I apologize if this question has asked before, but when Amy ran up from the basement and Robert police pants, were those special made for the moment, or were those Robert's real pants? Excellent question, King Me 57. All right, in the episode where Robert comes up and then Amy comes running up wearing Robert's pants, those were custom-made pants for maximum comedic effect. So that question is great. It would be interesting to see how Robert's real pants, how high they would come up on Amy, Monica, and maybe, I know Robert's police uniform, because I got it there, is sitting in the Hermosa Beach Comedy and Magic Club. So if they ever move that out of there, I'll see if I can get Monica to throw on a pair of Brad Garrett's pants and see just exactly how high they come up. But yes, that was made for maximum comedic effect. He says, kiss me like I'm going to war. Yeah, that's right. So you're saying he says it in another version that you see, but when you see it airing? Because I know that was the discussion when it happened. Excellent observation, though. I love that. Karen used to be on every night for a couple of hours on, Comedy Central. Then they stopped. Interesting. I watch Ray Nightly on TV Land and IFC. Valerie, you watch it on IFC and TV Land. I think the IFC is the complete episodes. And I think maybe TV Land is a much more edited version. And so every other week I alternate between a guest and answering questions. For those of you that are asking if I'm having a guest today, it's always alternating because I feel bad when I have a guest because I can't answer all of the questions. And I don't want to be rude to our guests because mostly we are talking to our guests. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Tom Caltabiano here, writer on Everett Raymond for all 9 years. Friends with Ray, doing stand-up prior to Everett Raymond, and I still see as many of those people as I can from the show. More questions here. And Paula, you had a question about what was the original script. Ken Levine, the director, who's always a great guest, he was talking about in an episode called What Good Are You? They have to do some physical business where Ray's trying to get out of Splinter. And so Ken said, I have an idea, and they swung big, meaning it was a big physical move that he rehearsed on stage before Ray and before Phil came down with the writers. And so anytime you do that, you risk being embarrassed, because if it doesn't get a laugh, you're taking a risk, and Phil, the head writer, might go, that's not very funny. Why are you wasting our time? Put it back to what we had in the script. But in Ken's case, and of course he had a tremendous amount of experience writing on MASH and Cheers and many, many other shows, it did work. And he was saying Patty was a trooper and Ray was a trooper for trying that physical thing. And Paula, you asked, what is in that original script? So I will find the original script, and I will post that page, which I don't know what the physical direction was on that page. We will find out ourselves what that was. ELR, okay, let me race ahead to these questions. Awesome. Did the kitchen sink and stove work? Yes, as far as I know, they always worked, and it wasn't just a one-time thing. But I will find out more from, I think that might be the props department. Excellent question. It was a working kitchen. Here's a little inside secret that you wouldn't know unless you were there. There is no glass in the kitchen cabinets. So when you see those kitchen cabinets and there's a window into what is in those kitchen cabinets, there is no glass. You can't tell on camera. If you had glass, you would have reflection. So they could either make it solid wood, or they could make it a glass that's non-reflective. And they actually, believe it or not, they sell in Hollywood and everywhere they make movies, a spray can that is called like non-reflection. It just dulls everything, and you can use it on everything to cover that up. But in that case, the glass would just be cloudy looking. So there is no glass. But other than that, the kitchen was functioning. What is used to spray Marie in the episode? In Marie's episode, Frank paints the house. She is sprayed with it's a type of paint that they thin, a non-toxic type of paint. I have the name. Rhonda Robinson was their head of props. I asked her that a while ago, and she said it was this, and it begins with an E. I don't remember it. So it was this non-toxic paint. TV Land seems to edit so much. I don't understand why. I feel it's unnecessary. Yeah, that TV Land, great observation. The only reason that they edit, and they did it going back to I Love Lucy, is to sell more ads. So if the networks had their say, they would have a 10-minute TV show and 20 minutes of commercials. So that's the only reason they edit out any of the content. And for the people that write a show, it's very frustrating. Produce a show, like for Phil, there's a point where he has no say, and it can seem kind of random. So if you're watching on TV Land, which I know that's in the United States, I know it's in the UK, and you're going, why? That doesn't make any sense. Chances are that wasn't the original cut in the original episode. Excellent observation. Will we have someone from props department on live one week? Karen, excellent question. Just like with the wardrobe department, that's Ashley. Ashley is not on Instagram. Rhonda, I've spoken with her, please come on. She's not on Instagram, so I have to figure it out, because that will be fantastic. Because as well as having the wardrobe episodes, so does this say wardrobe on it? No, okay. But I know this is wardrobe. Ashley Steuer was our head of wardrobes. There's the shooting script cover. Just like the wardrobe, I have every episode from every season from the props department. So in those Rhonda scripts, there will be Polaroids of every prop that was used in every show. Tom, in the episode, hello, Leo. Tom, an episode where Deborah is playing golf, and Ray says, she hits a ball, but I assume there was netting. Yes, in front of the audience. Yes, absolutely. So, excellent question, Leo. For Deborah Has Fun, or Fun with Deborah is the name of that episode. That was all on stage 5. And for that, there's 2 scenes. One with the, that's kind of the club. That was right to the right of the living room, Ray and Deborah's living room in real life. And then Frank and Marie's living room and kitchen went away, and the whole golf course was built there on stage 5. I've posted pictures in the past. I'll post some pictures before. But yes, Deborah is hitting into a net, and she's hitting, as far as I know, almost at the audience, almost at the live audience. When Deborah and Ray were on the King of Queens, who wrote the script? Excellent. ELR King of Queens. Excellent, excellent question from Southern Figs. On another show, the writers of that show write that episode. So we had absolutely nothing to do with the episode King of Queens. So anything, it's out of our hands. Now, we had Kevin before he was on his own show, but we would write I'm trying to think of what episodes Kevin was in where he played Kevin. You guys would know better than me. Even though I wrote an episode with Kevin and Ray called Golf for It, he was playing Kevin, not Doug, in some of them. But yeah, sorry, I shouldn't say never. In my experience, you don't write for the other TV series. So, can I make, hello, Donnell. Thank you again for this. Of potential sayings for the mugs, which I will get I will figure out a way to make merchandise. And I will tell this story briefly, remind me about merchandise. Can you make a second Instagram account called ELR Guess and just give them a password to log into? Oh, you mean for people that aren't on ELR and so they can go? Yes, excellent, excellent question, Donnell. And I think there's another thing that's a factor, which is a lot of people don't like to be on camera. So I talked to Janet Daly. Janet Daly handled our PR for a very long time on Everyone's Raymond. She's fantastic, and I love her as a person, and she's great to talk to. And I saw her not too long ago. I said, Janet Daly, will you come on and just talk to me? She said, never in a million years will I be on camera. So at that point, I have to let it go. But that is an excellent suggestion, and I think I will do exactly that to try and get the props department. Hello, let me see, what time is it in Germany? Guten Abend in Deutschland, yes. The golf outtakes are hilarious, Bobby. Are you seeing them on YouTube? When Ray puts the radio in the cake, how many cakes were used during the taping? So usually we have at least, my guess is they had 5. Usually they have at least 3. So if they're going to do 2 takes, they know they have to have 2 perfect cakes. So as you know, as a normal person who's not in show business, you sit there and you go, oh man, how many, let's use the minimum, let's not waste a bunch of cakes. But you can't have 130 people standing around while someone goes, let me get another cake and try and fix that old one so we can save some money. So my guess is they had 5 cakes on hand, and they probably used 2 because they did that twice. Hello, is it Daisy? It's hard to see. I'm having a bad reflection today. Is there an ELR trivia game? I've been looking and I just can't find one. I think you're watching the ELR trivia game. So there is not, as far as I know, and that leads me to the mugs and other things that I have in mind that we could potentially provide for you guys. When Ray and I were on the show, when the beginning of Raymond, people asked, friends and family said, hey, can you get us a mug or a t-shirt? And they didn't exist. And so Ray, I actually called HBO, who handled merchandise, and I said, hey, do you guys have any plans to make mugs or t-shirts or anything from the show for us selfishly as gifts? And they said, no, we have no plans. So as far as I remember, for official merchandise, there were only 2 t-shirts. One was a picture of Peter Boyle that said "Holy crap" on it, and the other was just a picture of Robert in uniform. But there was nothing else that I ever saw, um, merchandise wise. So, and I don't know why. I guess because they were making millions and millions of dollars from syndication, so they didn't really pay attention. In Marie's sculpture, how many laughs did the cast have over the shape of the sculpture? Yes, Jerry, yes. Well, that was the joke of the sculpture, which is very much based on a real life sculpture that is in near Nyack, New York, outside the courtroom building. And the colloquial word is something different, but the way that came about was one of the writers, Jennifer Crittenden, came in and said, my mother took an abstract sculpting class, and she gave me this little teeny sculpture, but it looks like the private parts of a woman. And Phil said, oh, that can be a funny episode. Why don't we make it a very, very big sculpture to make it funny? And we have one outside of the Rockland County Courthouse that looks just like it. So Phil tells a funny story, and if he's on here again, I will have him share that story where he calls up his parents and he says, can you go take a picture of that sculpture? Was the Kevin in the Nemo's basketball? Was he Kevin in Nemo? Yeah, I think he was Kevin, Karen. So Kevin James, season 1, Nemo's basketball episode, where you can see yours truly in there. He was Kevin, as far as I know, because King of Queens was a show that was developed not for Kevin specifically. It was developed, and they cast Kevin in that show. So let's see, other questions. Hello, everybody. Yes, Karen, what do I miss most about ELR? The paycheck. That was very dear to me. The camaraderie. So you guys see it now here. You guys are, it's great that you guys can see the conversations and see how much fun we have together. So when you're going to work and you're laughing hysterically and your job is to make people laugh, it is a great, great thing. So the camaraderie of working with 130 people every day, and for those of you that have jobs that you enjoy and you get to go into work and really enjoy it, that's what it was like. And sadly, it just ends. It's not, it doesn't, it just, you're unemployed one day, and some of those people you never will see again, potentially. Bobby, how do actors, yes, in eating scenes, time their chewing? Excellent question. Yeah, they have to learn to take really small bites. Excellent, excellent question. Because if you're not an actor, if you're a normal person, you would be like, this is delicious. And you would take a giant bite, and then the next thing you know, they go, okay, let's hear your next line. And then you're talking with your mouth full. The t-shirt, yes, Brian Johnson, you should sell the t-shirt with I'm with stupid. Great. That is a reference to Standard Deviation episode, the tag, which is the end of the show. Frank comes in with the thumb and on his t-shirt that says I'm with stupid, pointing to Marie. A very big laugh, a punchline on a sweatshirt. You saw the other day that the sculpture that Doris had was sold at her estate auction. Really, Donnell, send me that information. That's fascinating. So there were 2 sculptures, and I'll post some pictures of me standing next to the sculpture. I don't know if I've posted that already, but I don't know where the other one is. Maybe I'll make a miniature version of that. Give me some hearts if you would like a miniature version of the sculpture. Maybe a magnet version of that. Was it really Patty who fell on their first date when Ray opened the freezer door to get ice, or was that a stunt double? Kathy, excellent question. As far as I know, that is all Patty. Yeah, all Patty doing it. And when Patty comes on, hopefully in February, we will ask her that. Lots of questions. How is the executive producer determined, etc.? There it was. Sorry, I have a reflection. There are various producers in the credits. Okay, Andrew. Is it Andrea or Andrea? Either way, a fantastic question. a confusing topic. So there's all different rules for all kinds of different producers. So for writers, you have various levels of writers. There's staff writer, story editor, I think executive story editor, maybe not, I don't know. Producer, co-producer, supervising producer, co-executive producer, executive producer. For the most part, that's only money. It's not responsibility. So when you see story editor, and I think I was a story editor, because you have to get every promotion up the ladder. But there's no such thing as like, okay, you're now a story editor. I need you to edit this story for me. You're still just writing. Now, having said that, the executive producer, Phil Rosenthal, was the writing showrunner. He was really the head of the show. But there were other people who also had the executive producer title, and they did other functions. But if you ask somebody who works on a show, what would happen if this person didn't show up for work? If there was no difference whether they showed up for work or not, you know that that producer or executive producer title might be something that's not specific to the show's day-to-day operations. So it's a little bit too in-depth to get into, but for the most part, it's money. So even if there's a producers guild. So Lisa Helfrich Jackson, who is the line producer, she did all the, it's not a judgment, but all the non-creative hiring. So the camera department, the lighting department, all that stuff she's responsible for. She is a producer of making the show happen, and her title, I think, might have been producer, then co-executive producer, then executive producer, etc. So I hope that explains it. But you cannot tell just by seeing executive producer. You can't tell if that guy does a lot of work or not a lot of work. There's other stuff that is involved. What was used for an excellent question, Valerie? What was used for the no-fat tofu turkey episode? I know it wasn't tofu. I don't think it was tofu, but we will find out from Rhonda when I think ELR guest is an awesome idea when she joins. But that was hysterical. And oddly, I don't have many pictures of the tofu turkey. All right, a few more questions, and I will show the inside of I Wish I Were Gus, the season 1 episode early on. Let's see. Excellent questions today. Was that yes? Hello, Diane. Tom, what are you doing now? Now I am talking to you guys, but I'm also I've been doing a lot of stuff. I do a children's educational content company. That's what I'm doing. I've recently written a bunch of stuff. I know you guys know the Baby Shark song. I've been helping that company out a lot, writing a couple of movies and scripts and an animated series for them. And I wrote for an animated series for Lego recently, but my own children's educational company is what I'm doing. And of course, I do help Ray occasionally when he needs funny stuff, and other friends of mine who need funny stuff, etc. All right, the inside of, here we go. Hello, Gary. So here we go. The inside, there is the cast. Again, I think, I forget who, if it was Bobby, but if you look at this, if you watch this in a mirror, you can read it. But there's the cast and crew, etc. But let's get to I Wish I Were Gus. I hope you guys remember that episode. Here we go. First Polaroid from the Ashley script, wardrobe department. Raymond, in quotes, scene A. There we go. Leaning up against the refrigerator. This is shot in Hollywood Center Studios, the home of I Love Lucy for the first 2 seasons. That is a good shot of Casual Ray. For those of you that have never seen me holding up these pictures, the wardrobe department for every episode has to take a Polaroid picture for continuity, so they know what the character was wearing, so they can match it. I don't know. I can't tell who is behind. That might be me behind Ray, actually. So there's Ray looking sharp. There's Patty, a very young Patty. And Raymond. So that's still Ray's interior office. So there must have been downstairs at the office somewhere. You can see the edge of Peter Boyle. And again, you can't judge these photographs because the wardrobe department comes in and they go, they need to take a picture and they don't want to interrupt. And they go flashing, because there's a flash going off, and you always have to know on stage if a flash has gone off because the lighting department goes, did we just blow a bulb overhead? So that's why a lot of times the actors are not looking. Again, yes, that might be me behind Raymond. But that's why a lot of times the actors are not looking, so they're in between shots. And so other people might be talking to them. Let's see what we got. Raymond, I guess this is the funeral scene, right? So he's looking dapper. Raymond again, interior. I can't tell because I'm also looking at it backwards what that is, but that must be Ray casual coming back from the funeral, I assume. We're looking at Polaroids from I Wish I Were Gus season 1, very early on, like one of the first episodes. Frank, scene A, looking very frank there. That looks like Brad next to him. I guess there was a scene in the basement. There's Peter looking great. These are fantastic. I've never seen these before. That is just awesome to see. Here we go. Here is Frank again. I don't know if would that have been the funeral? Those of you watched it more recently than I have. Yes, how I see that. How were we able to get Gene Stapleton? Yes. We'll talk about that. All right, Brad Garrett. That still says Frank though, doesn't it? And that's Don Rosemond. So there are two main people in the props department. That is Don Rosemond. And there is Brad again, Robert. So this one is mislabeled, right? That says Frank, and it's actually Robert. Brad Garrett, I assume, at the thing. These are phenomenal to see. So this is in twins, one of the twins' outfits, okay? And the woman holding the twins is Susan DeFabre, who was the child wrangler, as they say. She was in charge of the kids. So the kid's mother isn't in charge of the kids. And here we go. Patty Heaton. Deborah, interior. Can't tell if that's the teaser or not. But Patty Heaton, very 1996, interior office. So I can't tell if the picture's blurry or it's not focusing, but there you go. These are great, great shots. So let's see, Patty, I'm guessing funeral scene, looking very chic there. Showing her, I guess she's showing her ring because you have to keep track of jewelry, etc. And again, I will post these after we look at them. Patty again on the couch. Great. Again, back to the funeral scene and probably holding up her fingers like that for a ring. For those of you who are into wardrobe, this is really fun to see. For those of you who are just fans of the show, it's good to see all of these. All right, fan favorite, Doris Roberts. And again, we've talked about it. Her makeup looks a little white. Pow, that's great to see Doris. Is that the same scene? Let me go back. Yes, is that the same outfit? It's hard to tell with Doris. Her tops look very familiar. That kitchen table and chairs is in Phil Rosenthal's house right now. So there we go. Doris Roberts. How many? Let's see. Where Marie looking. Oh, these are her close-ups of her shoes. You don't have to see them. Here is Doris in another scene. This must be for the funeral scene. There we go. And admittedly, very white makeup in there. And I don't know. Here's Madeline Sweeten. Again, if you just joined, I Wish I Were Gus. Never before seen. Oh, there's an adorable one of Madeline Sweeten. Little Allie, who's based on Ray's real life. Okay, someone asked about this. There is Gene Stapleton, star of All in the Family. For those of you that never saw All in the Family, it was a giant hit show in the United States that was based on a show from the United Kingdom. and it was #1 in the ratings. Really a groundbreaking series. And Gene Stapleton, I guess, was available, and we'll have to ask Lisa Miller Katz, the casting director of Everest Raymond, that I guess they just put out an offer to her. And this must be her. So here, for those of you really into wardrobe, there's a shot of, I guess, her earrings and necklace that they had, a separate shot. Let's see. Yep, Aunt Alda. That, again, I will post these. And then here's just the rest of the cast, the funeral director, funeral director and other people. And I do know that there's a lot of people that asked about stand-ins. And here, you can see that's Ray's stand-in and Doris Roberts' stand-in, standing side by side. I can't tell which side, but in the brown jacket and in the black jacket, the woman in the black, the man in the brown, I'm going to say it is. That's Wolfgang Track and her name slips my mind, Doris Roberts stand-in. Also in the background of the episode. So let me see if that's, I don't know. Yes, that is just a background player. Let's see if there's anything else, more background player. Well, if you saw the episode, you'll recognize this gentleman and that gentleman, because I have a picture of Madeline Sweeten in that hat, wearing that guy's hat. Okay, I am going to wrap it up. Let's go back and see if we missed any questions. Hello, she was Instagram. You can. Who was on Instagram? She has an Instagram account. Okay. Did the stand-ins need to look like the actors? Yes, not really. They just need to be the same height, same complexion. Did the cast get to keep any of the clothes or jewelry? Yes, absolutely. Family Mom Forever. They asked Patty, they asked everybody, what wardrobe do you want to keep? And there were a lot of clothes that Ray wore that I ended up getting, just because it's so much wardrobe. And so, but a lot of it was, dress for winter stuff, etc. And when you live in California, you really can't use that. So I know when you're watching it now, just like, if someone said, hey, we have a lot of extra wardrobe from I Love Lucy and we have to give it away, it seems like treasured gold. I can't even fathom that. But when the show ends, when the series ends, it's just the show ends and now we have to do something with this wardrobe. And so you were able to get it, and they were happy to give it to Patty and Doris. So yes, absolutely. Anybody who wanted one, they could. Was that the twins' mom? No, that was the child. Okay, we answered that. Do we keep in? Yes, I'm in touch with Brad. Bad news. Yeah. Brad Garrett, by the way, has a comedy club in Las Vegas. No, I don't think that was Gene Stapleton's last performance. As far as I know, she was in very good health. I'm repeating these questions because they go away when this gets posted. And the only guy you know goes nuts. Yes, great, Teresa. Thank you. Fabio, yes, when you're on your own. Thank you. Thank you, Jay. Do I keep in? Yes, I guess he's busy. Yeah, I mean, Brad is such a phenomenally fun person, but live, it's phenomenal, and I really recommend it. Yes, Gene Stapleton, Donnell, that was phenomenal that she was in that episode. I know Phil was. We were all thrilled because she's show business royalty, and so it was really good. So yes, Bobby, who's next? Joe Dornberger was the Joe Dornberger was in the episode Who's Next. He was the very tall gentleman, and he was indeed Brad Garrett's stand-in for most of the series. As I can say, my pictures of Allison Janney are stunning. Thank you, Teresa. That's on my photography site. Did I ever write stand-up for any comedians? I would help with stand-up. So I was busy writing my own stand-up, but I would help people. And usually in the comedy world, what you do is you write pieces. So there's a very specific structure in stand-up comedy. Very, in the old days, like with Bob Hope and stuff, a writer would write out his act in many ways. But then along came Lenny Bruce, and it was people writing their own acts for the most part. But then you also had Henny Youngman and Rodney Dangerfield who would buy jokes. But for the most part, the way it works in the stand-up comedy world is you're watching somebody's act, and you might be like, "Hey, you know what? You know what? You could add on to that joke. You could tag that joke with something else." So there are some comedians that buy complete acts, but that is not something that I've ever encountered. But I do for all of my comedy friends, as people do for each other, like, "Hey, Tom, you could add to that joke. You could do this." So was I on set working on every episode on every season? Yes, you are on set of every season, every moment of every day. So when you do a table read, that kicks off the week, and then you go back to the writer's room, and then there's a run through on set. So you would come to the set for the run throughs throughout the week. So at least 3 times you would come on set for the run throughs, and then the day of the filming, you were there for the entire filming from beginning to end in case there were some jokes needed. You were watching the monitors. The more eyes on the monitors, the better. And so, yes, you were on there all the time. There's only one day that I think of the week that we weren't on no, there really wasn't, actually, because we went down to a 4-day work week. So, yeah, every single day we were on the set, the writers. Excellent. Final question. How is the executive producer determined, etc.? Yes, that I read. Great. And it is complicated. By the way, I'm in it. I know how the structure works, but when you're watching it, I can't tell. When I'm watching a rerun of MASH, I can't tell what this executive producer did, if they wrote, because there's writing producers, there's non-writing producers. It is very complicated. It is very confusing. But just know that the higher the credit, the more money that person is making. Did I ever run into Clint Eastwood? Yes, Gary. Yes, I did. Why do you ask that? It's a very odd, specific, informed question. I would see Clint Eastwood usually at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, and I sat next to him and took a picture, which I will post if you guys want to see the picture I took of Clint Eastwood. We were talking cameras, and he was confused by my panoramic camera. Yes, what was that sound, that Brad Garrett? Yeah, that's, by the way, you can't write how funny Brad Garrett can be making sounds and facial expressions. It would kill us watching that. And for those of you that haven't seen the table read for multiple myeloma, I recommend you see that, because Brad Garrett, that only happened last year. Brad Garrett Ray laughs so hard at Brad Garrett, and everybody laughs so hard at Brad Garrett, it kind of sneaks up on you. Yes, all of the family. You heard, Family Mom Forever, you heard that some of the set was from All in the Family. The parts of Frank and Marie's kitchen was from All in the Family. I don't remember if it's the pass-through or something like that. So has anyone mentioned the blue/yellow flower top Doris wore in so many times? Point that out for me. Apple cheeks. If you can name the episode, I will look that up. All right. I will see all of you. Thank you so much. I will post some pictures from I Wish I Were Gus next week. Hopefully I will be back with a guest. Thank you, everybody, for so many great questions. Thank you for wishing Monica Horan Rosenthal a happy birthday. It was her birthday yesterday. A great addition to the show. If I just posted only photos of her, there would be about 1,000, so I had to pick a few, and of course a lot of fan favorite moments. Goodbye, everybody in the United Kingdom, in Australia, and let's see, Germany. Yes, scrolling back, United Kingdom. Yes, fantastic. In Norway. Goodbye to all of you. Stay warm if you're in Chicago or on the East Coast or anyone else. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. See you next week. Keep those questions coming and keep those ideas coming for quotes on the mugs. We will definitely make them at some point. Okay. Thank you very much.